India continue to chip away en route to what will be a historic test win in Adelaide and a lead in the series. They wanted to get 2 wickets a session if they were to get there mathematically. They've done that, and they'd be happy that it is that of the 2 overnight batsmen. Both Travis Head and Shaun Marsh got deliveries worthy of being dismissed after how comfortable they looked last evening and in the first part of this morning. Ishant Sharma and Jasprit Bumrah among the wickets, and that last wicket of Shaun Marsh just tilting things in India's favour. Tim Payne has held one end up, but it's still a large task for Australia. 137 behind, India need just 4 wickets. This is our lunchtime show on the final day on ESPN Cricinfo Match Day. I am Raunak Kapoor. If you're all set to get ready for work on Monday, hang on just a bit, or at least keep in touch with the game. It looks good if you're an India fan. Brad Hodge is with us in Adelaide. VVS Laxman is here. We've decided to manage our fast bowlers' workload, so Ajit Agarkar has been given a well-deserved rest.
Yeah. So he can be fresh.
Yeah, he can be fresh going forward. But if you told India that it'll go slow, you'll get 2 wickets of the overnight batsmen in the first session, I think they would have taken it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what's been really impressive is this is the first time I have seen the Indian bowling lineup so disciplined.
Yes.
They did well in England, they did well in South Africa, but that were in helpful conditions where there was a lot of lateral movement, there was swing on offer, and there were a lot of wickets taken by all the bowlers. But this was a flat wicket, this was a slow wicket. There was no swing on offer, there was no lateral movement on offer, but the amount of deliveries they bowled with discipline, not allowing the batsmen to free their arms, not giving away gifted runs on the leg side, and that really is impressive. And going forward, I think this discipline will help India to win the series and put pressure on the Australians, because the free-flowing nature of the Australians is being curbed. We talked a lot about Australians not showing intent, but there were not many deliveries where they could have capitalized on. And whenever there were a couple of deliveries from Shami which were down the legs, they got boundaries. So I think brilliant discipline effort, but the work is not yet over. If you're an Australian fan, you would have just felt 137 runs more to get. One established batsman, either of Shaun Marsh or Travis Head, who knows? We could have won this game. So I think India will be very pleased to get rid of the 2 overnight batsmen who were set and who were batting well. But great discipline effort from the Indian bowlers.
Yes, Hodge, and I think that was the general sense, even from what I was hearing from the Aussie commentators while that first session was on. Just when Shaun Marsh was starting to look a little more fluid, gets a good one. It sort of sums up this test match, right? Even when Australia have just considered getting a step in front, India's bowlers in particular have found a way to just peg back.
Yeah, they've been outstanding. They've just continued to plug away and put the Australian batsmen under pressure. And I think the critical, 2 dismissals were that of Travis Head and Shaun Marsh, because they were probably the established batsmen that could have taken us close to this total. There's still a glimmer of hope. Tim Payne's come out with some aggression. He's been a little bit lucky, but he's going to have to score 100 for us to win this test match.
Now let's speak of those 2 wickets and of Travis Head in particular. Now, we've spoken of how this test match has been about unforced errors and gifts by batsmen. When that's not happened, full credit to the bowlers. Ishant Sharma on this occasion, surprising Head, who looked quite comfortable up until
and the way he set it up,
yeah.
And that's really good to see. This is a different Ishant Sharma we've seen since the England series. There is a game plan and there is a method to the way he's picking up wickets. The way he set it up was angling the ball away from Travis Head, and then when Travis Head was not expecting and he was more looking to come on the front foot and cover the swing and leave the ball outside the off stump, he comes and bowls that accurate bouncer. Again, when you bowl bouncer, you almost try to hit the badge or the helmet, which is exactly what Travis Head found out. And he was surprised, because he's someone growing in Australia on those conditions where your very strong square of the wicket, pull shot and square cut becomes your favorite shots. But he was surprised with that delivery from Ishant Sharma. So it's great execution and great setup by Ishant Sharma. And I think when you bowl with discipline, when you bowl in discipline, there will be always the doubt in the batsman's mind, and you don't know what to expect. And this bowling lineup, especially the fast bowlers, they're quality, because when you bowl at consistently 135, 138 kilometers per hour, you cannot take anything for granted. So that was a great setup and execution from Ishant Sharma.
On a slow pitch, VVS, is that bouncer an even greater effort ball or a harder ball?
I always felt, where we can trust the bounce, where we can trust the pace, then it's easier to counter the short pitch deliveries. That's why I always found that playing the bouncers in subcontinent conditions where you can't trust the bounce is tougher than when you play in Australia or South Africa, where you know the moment the ball pitches on a length where you know that it's going to go above your head, then you can duck. But here, because of the slowness of the wicket, the slower the ball comes, you're almost forced to play at the ball.
Yes.
The quicker it comes, you can easily sway away, and I think it's tough bowling, and that's a wicket-taking option for the fast bowlers.
It's only 3 wickets in the match for Ishant Sharma, Hodge, but coming into this series, he was another one of the, I wouldn't say targets, but certainly someone the Australian media was building up as they were showing us the numbers, and they were true for whatever it's worth, that in these 3 tours, Ishant Sharma has the worst average amongst any bowler who's ever gone there. We know that this is a different Ishant Sharma, but I'm sure he would have felt the need to just prove to all those skeptics that he's not quite as bad a bowler as his record might suggest. This test match, in spite of just having 3 wickets, have you seen an improved or a very different Ishant Sharma than what you've seen previously in Australia?
Well, completely different actually. I mean, he's been outstanding. There was a good sharp bouncer that got Travis Head out, caught him by surprise. And I'll tell you what Ishant Sharma will be doing, and the rest of the Indian attack. They'll be licking their lips when they get over to Perth this time. I think the one difference which has stood out for me, not only from Ishant Sharma but from all the Indian bowlers, is the fullness in which they've bowled. They've attacked the stumps, they've attacked the pads. The Australian batsman challenged just outside the off stump. Normally, every travelling international team generally goes on the shorter side, and that's probably in the past where Ishant Sharma, it's probably been questionable where the ball doesn't hit the stumps, you can leave a lot or cut short, but we just haven't seen any deterioration in the Indian attack from just the relentless pressure on and outside that stump. It's been a high quality attack, and I mean since 2015. Only South Africa have had the more consistent, better attack, pace bowling attack, and India's second. So it says a lot for this bowling unit.
And that's strong words from Hodge, and given that this is only a 4-man attack.
Yeah, and also the workload has been managed.
Yes.
When you've got 4 quality bowlers, you can rotate. And 3 fast bowlers are fit. Shami not maybe as fit as Ishant and Jasprit Bumrah, but I think Virat has been brilliant in using them and rotating them quite effectively. But I think for any youngster watching Ishant Sharma, he's been playing more than 85 test matches. Now he's been around since a long time. I think 2006-07 was when he made his international debut. The importance of technique, the importance of wrist position. And he's been trying to get his wrist upright for a long time. But what you've seen is over a period of time, he's worked hard and it's come right probably 12 months, 16 months back. And since then, if you see the amount of wicket he's taking, is much more than what he has done in the previous 8 to 9 years. And that shows that when your wrist is upright, the majority of the balls lands on the seam, and also it lands in front. More fuller balls gives you more opportunity to pick up wickets, because when the ball is short of good length, then it looks good. You feel that the batsman is beaten, but you're not effective. The only way you can be effective and impactful is when you pick up wickets. So I think he's given himself more opportunity now. I'm not surprised that he's getting more wickets and troubling the batsman a lot more than what he used to do before, because just change in his wrist position, getting it more upright.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you never associated Ishant as the guy to bowl a snorter of a bouncer to get his wickets. He awkward height and sorts, but barring that Lord's Test where he bounced England out, which was a different type of short ball style of bowling. Bumrah and Shami expect they could surprise a batsman. Ishant, you didn't quite expect that. It would have been a very personally satisfying wicket for Ishant.
Very satisfying for Ishant. But again, when you're bowling consistently short of good length or short pitch deliveries, as a batsman you're not surprised. A batsman is surprised with the short pitch delivery when majority of the deliveries are pitched up, and then suddenly you get a short pitch delivery, then you're surprised. Whereas with Ishant Sharma, not many batsmen the world over were looking to play on the front foot. They were always hanging on the crease or looking to play on the back foot, and that's why even though he used to bowl short pitch deliveries, it didn't have that effectiveness like what it's happening now. So I think it's great and well directed short pitch delivery. That's so important. When you bowl the short pitch delivery, it's very important to the direction of that delivery is very important.
Hodge makes a very good point of how the bowlers have just been relentless. 165 balls, I don't think Shaun Marsh was in any trouble or played a false shot. And then Bumrah with an oldish ball gets just perfectly that angle to go away. As a left-hand batsman, you've got to play at that top ball even with an old ball at that stage?
Absolutely, and that's the advantage of having pace.
Yes.
You know, when someone is 125, 130, those same balls the batsman can adjust. I still remember Praveen Kumar, you know, one of the most skillful bowlers I have seen, and this was in 2011 England series. Me and Rahul were in the slips, and there were so many times the English batsman used to get beaten in the air, but because he was slow, they could adjust. But when you're bowling consistently near 140 kilometers, you don't have a chance to adjust or come back into that shot. And that's why I think while the discipline has been really good, if you see the pace, it's never ever dropped. And that's also shows that the Indian pacemen are fit. You know, and with fitness, you don't get exhausted.
He's backed up 20 overs with another 15.
And that's so important. When you're playing with 4 bowlers, and that's what Virat, I remember telling before the start of this test match, that the Indian fast bowlers are much more fit compared to 2014 series. And that's so important, you know, because if you're not fit, then the third spell, the fourth spell, or the longer you bowl in the test match, you can lose your effectiveness, you can lose your impact, which you can create when you're fresh. So I think it boils down to fitness, it boils down to strength and core strength.
Let's just have a quick look at a fan question that's come for Jasprit Bumrah, and I'll also get Brad Hodge's assessment on Bumrah, who's playing his first test in Australia. Remember, so this is a new experience in itself for Jasprit Bumrah, bowling with the red Kookaburra ball in Australia for the first time, and he's only 7 test matches old. But let me just go to Hodge. And one thing we've seen of subcontinent fast bowlers, Hodge, is they take a little time to figure out exactly what the right length is. Bumrah is such a prolific white ball bowler, but it didn't take him long to get it right in South Africa, get it right in England, vary things around with a different ball and whatnot. In just in 2 innings, he seems to have picked up exactly what he needs to bowl in Australia as well. We'll just try and re-establish that link with Brad Hodge at the Adelaide Oval. We've got that question that I spoke of ready, so let's just have a quick look at it. Javed Iqbal, removing Bumrah just after he took the wicket of March, was it the right call? Kohli makes a tactical error. Now he's been very keen to make sure the workload remains managed. Even Mohammad Shami, after taking the wicket of Marcus Harris, I think was removed. So he's going with that plan. Even if they get me the wicket, I'm going to keep moving them around.
Yeah, and the advantage Kohli has, or the luxury I would say, Kohli has, is all 3 can do the job. So in the past, if there are only 2 out of the 3 who can do the job, then those 2 bowlers are overbowled. Whereas now he's got the quality in Ishant, Shami, and in Bumrah.
Yes.
So he can rotate, you know, and he has got the faith and the trust that, you know, all the 3 can do the job.
There's no release bowlers.
There's no release bowlers, and that's the difference. You know, in the past, if you get early wickets, then there is a release bowler in the 3rd bowler or the 4th option. Whereas now Ashwin is doing a very good job, because in the past Ashwin also has conceded a lot of runs, whereas he's doing the holding up job from one end. And all the 3 fast bowlers are wicket-taking bowlers. They're just not coming here, coming and bowling to save runs or, you know, stop the run flow. They're coming with each and every over they're bowling. They're coming with a purpose of picking up wickets.
I can imagine when you played the great Australian attacks or the South African attacks, and you just felt, God, when am I going to get a bowler who I can just, you know, my eyes would light up. And that's a different challenge altogether, isn't it? When you know you've got 3 or 4 guys, even if they're coming back after a fresh spell, you're not going to get anything.
And that's a difference between playing against quality sides and an average sides. Because when you're playing against quality sides, like what Australia was when in my generation, I think you had to really work hard to score runs, because there were no easy runs on offer. You know, because one after other bowler used to come and bowl wicket-taking deliveries. It's not only about, you know, not giving runs or defensive approach. They will always bowl those wicket-taking deliveries. So you have to be at your best to score against them. I think that's the quality in this Indian lineup. And I'm not surprised, because when you talk about those Australian bowlers, they were supremely fit.
Yes.
And this Indian team bowlers are also supremely fit. You know, so I think once you're fit, your 3rd, 4th spell, or when you're fielding on this long, you know, the big grounds, where your legs can get tired, you know, when you're chasing the ball at fine leg or deep square leg or mid-on, where, you know, in India when you're playing, there are not many 3 runs which you are taken, you know, either it's 2 runs or it's a boundary. Whereas when you're playing in Australia, the big field, the soft outfields, you have to be strong, especially your lower body, so that you can always come back and, you know, go through the 90 overs. So I think fitness is the key as far as this bowling group is concerned.
Now these 4 bowlers, just continuing our conversation around just how effective they've been. Australia had 4 out of 6 left-handers in their top order, remember, and what we've seen is that in this match you'll have a couple of bowlers that have been particularly good against the right-handers, that's Ishant Sharma and Bumrah, and against the left-hand, well, Bumrah's been very good against the lefties too, but on the other side, Mohammad Shami and Ashwin have been excellent against the right-handers. I mean, it just goes to show that it's not like they've been negated by the fact that Australia have 4 left-handers. We were just talking about Bumrah, Hodge, before we lost that connection with you. Let me just come back to Bumrah and the wicket of Shaun Marsh. He's playing his first test in Australia. He's only played 7 tests. Often subcontinent fast bowlers take time to figure out exactly what length they need to bowl on different pitches overseas. Bumrah doesn't seem like one to take. He seems like a very quick learner, doesn't he?
Extremely quick learner, yeah, he has. Look, I'm not surprised. He's been very successful with the white ball. He's had probably a lot of good mentors to explain to him what it's going to be like, adjusting in South Africa, adjusting to Australia. But look, what he is an excitement machine. He's quick. He's got an awkward action, which means that as a batsman, you're still searching for what he's particularly doing, whether he shapes the ball away, whether he swings it in, attacks the stumps. But I think I agree with VVS. I've followed Jasprit Bumrah on social media, and he seems to be spending a lot of time in the gym, working on his body, working on his fitness, and you can see it's evident out here that the relentless pressure of these 3 fast bowlers to consistently hit a length and not dropping off has to be down to that fitness level. They've got outstanding skill, but backing that up with fitness is so important.
For all the T20 cricket you've seen, and I'm sure your first glimpse and note that you took of Jasprit Bumrah was in the shorter format, did you think this guy with his strange action would actually develop into an effective test bowler?
Well, I did, because his accuracy with the white ball is second to none. I thought that when I'd actually played against him, and when I thought that he was probably second to only Lasith Malinga in death bowling stakes, but also we've seen it with Mumbai Indians, especially when I was over there, that he's consistent with his... When he gets the ball, there's no warm-ups. It hits the bat hard. It's on-off stump consistently. So, he challenges that off stump so well. And it's no surprising that he can adapt to the test game. It's just a matter of trusting his technique and fitness. And he's obviously well backed by his captain, Virat Kohli. And it's a good faith. It looks like a good unit they got together. So, yeah, I'm not surprised at all.
Now, before we just take a few questions, one more question to you, Hodge. The wicket of Shaun Marsh, 60 of 166. He was coming under a bit of pressure from the Australian media and some ex-cricketers of how the runs have dried up. Now, he's got this 60. What kind of innings is this for him personally? Is it the one that just reinvigorates his immediate future and lets him carry on a series? Because I can already see some skepticism. He looks so good and whatnot, but Shaun Marsh has got his 1 innings now, and that'll probably keep him on for the end of the series. What kind of innings is this for Shaun Marsh?
Yeah, well, it's a good innings. This is the first time he's passed 50, I think, in any of his test innings in a second innings. So, we need that consistency from Shaun Marsh. That's one of the things which is being critiqued about. As a prime Australian batsman, you can ill afford to have, 8 to 10 scores under 10. I mean, that's just, it's not unforgivable, but we just expect more, from our top quality players. But we've seen the class. We've seen the talent. We just need to have some faith and some backing. He'll get an opportunity to go back to his home test in Perth, try and show his skills there. But, I think everyone in this particular team at the moment is coming under some criticism and fire. We just need time to give them an opportunity to just gel this team together and make it work.
Now, not all doom and gloom. It's still 2 sessions, and as improbable as it may seem, Tim Payne was at the head of that draw in Dubai just a couple of months back against Pakistan. He did have a top batsman in Khwaja for company there, but never rule out what could happen in Test cricket, especially in recent times. Have a look at some questions now that you've been sending in on a Monday morning, or probably on your way to work, or deciding to call in sick to watch this fine, likely victory for India. Vishwa Mohan Mishra, is this the first Australia series when India has the upper hand as far as the pace attack is concerned? Now, that's an interesting one, because it's still a good Australian pace attack, VVS.
I wouldn't say India has an upper hand, because even the Australian pace attack is quite formidable. But what they didn't see in this test match was the effectiveness of Mitchell Starc. You expect a lot more from Mitchell Starc. Left arm over the wicket, has the ability to swing the ball into the right-handers, and India has got a lot of right-handers, but he was not at all impactful. I think Pat Cummins and Hazelwood were brilliant, just like the way all the 3 quickies from India were brilliant. So I think this is the first time I would say that you're on par, because especially on slow wickets, on pacey wickets like probably you may get in Perth, I think when you have got extra pace, it will always help. So India is very happy or in a very comfortable position to have 3 bowlers in the playing 11 and probably 2 other quality bowlers on the bench who can bowl consistently above 135, close to 140 and above. So I think that's a luxury probably India never had. The pace at which these bowlers are bowling.
Let me rephrase that slightly and put it to you, Hodge. For this Test match, just for this particular Test match, should we say that the Indian bowlers have outbowled the Australian bowlers just this Test match?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Because of the ineffectiveness of Mitchell Starc. But when you see Hazelwood and Cummins, I think they were good. But Mitchell Starc wasn't at his best. Whereas from India's point of view, all the 3 bowlers have been supremely effective throughout this Test matches, and that's the reason why even a set batsman like Shaun Marsh gets out in that fashion. That's the reason why someone like Travis Head, who batted well in the first innings, gets out in that fashion. So I think definitely in this Test match, I think the Indian bowlers, fast bowlers, have outbowled the Australian fast
Let me
bowlers.
put the same question to Hodge, because I know Nathan Lyon took, I would say, some disagreement with the reporter that asked him whether Mitchell Starc wasn't good enough, saying maybe he should go face him in the nets. I'm not sure what you made of that, Hodge. But in this Test match, do you believe India's quicks have outbowled Australia's?
Yeah, I do actually. I'm surprised at how relentless they've been, and I agree with VVS that probably they're on par as in terms of how dynamic both attacks can be. I mean, it's jam-packed with good speed. Each bowler bowls, above 140. The off-spinners are just as good as each other. And, I think that one cog which was missing was the ability of Mitchell Starc to be effective with a new ball. That was probably the only thing. He still ended up with pretty good figures. He got 3 for 40 last game, but in the last innings. But I think, there's a few buys which went to Tim Paine, which probably could have been put onto the bowler's scoreboard as wides. But all in all, if you can sharpen up for Perth, then they're going to be pretty tough. But India just ahead for sure in this one.
Okay, let's just take a few more questions on this lunchtime show as we look ahead to the second session of play on the 5th day. This one from Rohan Shukla. Expected Ashwin to have more of an impact on day 5, especially after seeing what Nathan Lyon did. What Ashwin needs to do, what does he need to do differently to get wickets today? Or is it just that he's not quite been as lucky this morning? VVS?
I just felt that Ashwin could have been more better as far as the pace at which he was bowling. I thought it was just a little bit slower compared to what you expect on the 5th day wicket. But the other thing, the only difference between the advantage Nathan Lyon had and Ashwin was the rough patch in front of the right-handers. But I just felt that he could have been a little more quicker in the air than probably what was on display in the first session.
Is that harder for a bowler like Ashwin with his action to get a little more pace on it? Nathan Lyon more sidearm, therefore can get more?
Yeah,
or can he still get quicker?
I think it's more to use his body, in the follow-through. Because Ashwin, we have seen that he doesn't use his body. I can't get too technical because this is something which...
You were a decent off spinner.
Would never turn the ball. But I think if he can use his body a lot more, then I think he can extract that bounce or in the air he can be more quicker. But that's the only thing. But I thought that as far as his patience was concerned or his discipline was concerned, he was spot on. But the advantage with Nathan Lyon at bowling to a lot of right-handers was the rough patch which was in front of the right-handers high.
Well, Ashwin does have 2 right-handers for him now, so don't rule out that he could have a little more of an impact. He almost got Pat Cummins, but for a DRS overturn. Let's have a look at one more question then before we look to wrap things up on the lunchtime show. Hari Sundar, will Virat start with pacers from both ends, given how good Bumrah, Ishant and Shami has been? Seems like Cummins is getting comfortable with Ashwin now. Who looks like the kind of bowler that will be most troubling for these two? Hodge, Tim Paine has looked quite solid. He's played Ashwin well. How would you start if you were Virat Kohli after lunch?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that Cummins has been particularly comfortable with Ashwin. I think he's troubled him a fair amount, actually. But look, it's a brand new ball. I would think that Virat might just give a couple overs to one of the 2 quicks, just to have a look. Also give Ashwin a rest and see if the quicks can grab a wicket and then whack Ashwin straight back in.
All right, one more question, and I'm glad that the questions are coming in this early on a Monday morning. Just give a call to work and say you'll come in a little late after this test match comes to its conclusion. Tim Paine up in the order. Now, Jaishankar Srinivasan with that. I was curiously looking at Tim Paine's record. 100 plus first class matches. He's faced 10,000 balls. He averages 30, just under 30. So he puts a price on his wicket, doesn't he, through the course? 100 balls at a first-class game. I mean, I don't know what he's like generally in the Shield and whether he's saved games many a times or he's been that sort of annoying presence for opposition fast bowlers batting with the tail. But is he perfectly suited there? And just what do you know of Tim Paine, the Test batter?
No, I wouldn't like to see him go up the order, Jashankar. I would like to keep him at number 7. Now, look, we talked about how difficult it is as a captain to also bat up the order. I mean, Virat bats at 4, Ricky Ponting 3, Mark Taylor opening the batting, and Strauss and Cook. So I think for him, just in this new environment, it's nice for him to just to bat down the order and get some time to think about what he needs to achieve as a batsman and switch off from the fielding mode to batting mode. There's a lot on his plate at the moment, and I don't think he should move up the order. I think he's doing a fine job down at number 7, and traditionally that's where the wicket keeper's batted. We just need to get a little bit more out of our top 6. I think we don't rob Peter to pay Paul. Just let Tim Paine do his job and let's get a little bit more out of the others.
Before I get one more question for VVS, I'm glad there are more coming in. Would Tim Paine be relishing this in some ways? I loved what the expression and the emotion after he saved that test against Pakistan. He doesn't have a top order batsman like he did there for company, but is he up for this kind of challenge? 2 sessions to bat. He's got a couple of lower order batsmen that can certainly hold the bat. He's the kind of character you would trust in such situations.
Yeah, exactly. He's perfect character. I think any batsman will get out there and relish this opportunity. It's unlikely, it's improbable, but you never know. He's going to have to make 100 to do so, and what better stage to try and have a crack at it? The wicket looks really, really good still. It looks good for batting, so there's no reason why it can't happen. But he certainly will take those experiences out of UAE. He's a good batsman. Technically, he's pretty sound. And what he did do is he played some shots, and that allowed Shaun Marsh to score freely as well. So his positive attitude is allowing him to score runs and pushing us a little bit closer. So fingers crossed.
Very well. That sums it up. If you're an Australian fan, you're still hoping against the odds. Now, one more question as we finally take this for VVS. Ashish asks VVS, how far is India away from winning this test, or will this go down to the wire? So is this the kind that we expect the remaining 4 wickets to fall, or 6 wickets to fall, 4 wickets to fall quickly, or could this still be a little slow for India?
I think it will be a little slow for India. The way Tim Paine and also Pat Cummins, and they've got Mitchell Starc and Nathan Lyon, who got the ability to fight. They're not going to give it easy, and it's not an easy wicket for the bowlers as well. Even though we are in the 5th day of the Test match, I still feel that the wicket is slow. There's no demons on the wicket, and then they're not. There's no uneven bounce on offer. So I still feel that the Indian bowlers have to work hard, and the Australians, the kind of grit you expect from the top order is being shown by the lower order of Australia, and that's a surprise for me. But I think they're going to not give it easy at all. They're going to fight till the end.
Like Hodge says, it's still a good pitch to bat on. Now, shall we quickly cast an eye on what the Fab 4 leaderboard looks like? We don't have Ajit Agarkar today, but Brad Hodge was in the lead going into the final day, and Jasprit Bumrah gets him 20 points after getting Shaun Marsh, who can only add 29 to Hodge's score and his own overnight, and Travis Head gets just the 3 points. So it's been a slow start for Hodge with 52, but Ashwin, you think, could get a couple of wickets this session. You optimistic about your chances, Hodge?
Yeah, I think Ashwin will certainly get a couple of wickets, but missed out a little bit with Travis Head. But is this the reason why Ajit hasn't showed up today? Because he's out 500 points behind.
I don't rule out that.
VVS.
Knowing him, he doesn't like losing. He's a sore loser, so he's out away. And he's having a tough time being a Man United fan in general. But yes, Ajit Agarkar will be back soon. Let's have a look at VVS Laxman's Fab 4 scoreboard for today. Travis Head and Shaun Marsh get him the same points. Now, the only difference he made was for Mohammad Shami. So he is trailing Hodge. And if Ashwin gets points, he'll get them for both. So what VVS is hoping for is Mohammad Shami comes in and takes some lower order wickets like he did in the first innings.
And Virat, please give him the bowling straight after lunch, because he's the one who can, just rip through the tail.
Yes.
I think Travis Head, I had a lot of expectation from Travis Head. I thought that both Shaun Marsh and Travis Head will play at least close to lunch. But it's I just wish that Shami gets some wickets, just like the way his record shows,
Yes.
because he's very, very effective in the second innings compared to the first innings.
And he did clean up the tail for India in the first innings. So, Mohammad Shami, VVS Laxman's hopes ride on him. Ajit Agarkar is not here, but he's still playing. He sent in his picks last evening on the show, if you catched it. And he's the only
Ajit,
man who
you're missing
picked Tim
something,
Payne.
buddy.
He's the only man who picked Tim Payne. So, the Aussie captain gets him 40 points and can add more depending on how long
For the first
he
time,
bats.
Ajit is in lead.
Yes,
And he's
in
not
the lead.
there.
He's not here. It's a consolation lead, because if you look at the leaderboard, you'll see that it doesn't make much of a difference to Ajit Agarkar's position. He does close the gap. It looks better now.
better.
548, 582 and 652. It all goes down to whether Mohammad Shami can get VVS Laxman a win. Brad Hodge quite happy as the way things stand. Many thanks to Hodgie and many thanks to VVS. We'll
Cheers,
get
sir.
their thoughts at tea time, or if the 4 wickets do fall in this session, then post-match. So catch the ESPN Cricinfo mobile app and ball-by-ball updates to see how this riveting final day goes down. India would be hoping to register a historic win, and Australia would be keeping their fingers crossed, like Brad Hodge says, to take an improbable either draw or win from this game. We'll keep you posted. See you again on ESPN Cricinfo Match Day.